Impact 2017 yards.
Want to take your 6 arc out to some extreme distances? Well, perfect, because today I'm going to show you exactly what we did to take this 6 arc out past 2,000 yards. I'm Andrew, and welcome to the channel.
Impact.
So first, let me introduce the rifle, because you're going to see it a lot on this channel. The upper receiver is a 22-inch 3M LLC 6 arc upper. And in full disclosure, I do own 3M LLC. But whether you want to support us or build it yourself, I'm still going to show you exactly what we do to accurize it, what we do to increase velocity so that we can get out to those extreme long distances, and also some of the tools and other equipment that we're using in conjunction with this upper receiver to reach those extreme long ranges. Long range shooting begins with accuracy, and accuracy starts with the barrel. We use Saturn. There are a lot of good barrel manufacturers out there, but you definitely need a good barrel. We take that process one step further. I send those out to be cryogenically accurized. And what they do with a cryogenic accurizing treatment is they'll take that barrel and they cool it down to 320 degrees below zero. And then they slowly bring that up to room temperature. And what that does is it relieves any of the machining stresses in the metal. That gives you a barrel that's a little bit easier to clean, a little bit more accurate, and it adds typically between 30 and 60 feet per second in velocity. Now that velocity is important when we're shooting out to long distance, which is why with this build, we wanted to take it out past 2,000 yards, so we went with a 22-inch barrel. Now the next thing you'll know with accuracy, the barrel needs to be free floated. And so we use a free floating handguard, obviously. With this one, we have a patented keyway system. And what that does is when I install the handguard, it locks it in place and it makes it so it can't be over tightened and it can't be too loose. So if you have a handguard that's over tightened, that throws off harmonics. It can add harmonic whip to your barrel, which decreases your accuracy. So we don't want that. The next thing with a direct gas impingement rifle, you can't really play with seating depth like you would in a traditional bolt action rifle, right? But there's still things that we can do to tune a bullet or tune specific ammunition to a rifle. And one of the things that we've done, this is an upgrade, we're using an EC tuner muzzle brake. So that allows me to tune that barrel to whatever bullet that I'm shooting. I don't have any affiliation with Eric Cortina or his products. This is something that I bought separately outside of what normally would come on this rifle. Now let's talk about installing the rifle, or installing the barrel into the upper receiver. A lot of times with your upper receiver, in the machining process, your receiver face isn't completely concentric. And so we hand lap those upper receivers, and what that does is that smooths up this mating surface. So when you install the barrel, it's meeting up to a concentric and flat chunk of metal back here. As far as some of the other stuff that we're using on this rifle, obviously you need a bipod and a rear bag. For the bipod, this is one that I just upgraded. We're using a MDT Oryx bipod, and it's a great bipod. easy to use, easy to adjust. I can level that out for cant, and really happy with this bipod. The next thing that we've done, when you're shooting long range, you absolutely have to be level when you take that shot. Your optic has to be level in correlation with the rest of your rifle. If you're tilted even by as much as 3 degrees, that can throw your shot off by up to 15 inches just at 1,000 yards, and that multiplies as you extend out further from there. So we're also using an MDT Send It level. I don't know if you can see this here, but what this guy does is it shows me when I'm level and when I'm not, and that sucker is right up in your face. You can't miss it. For the optic that we chose, we're running an Arkin EP5. Now, the EP5 it's not top tier glass, but it's an excellent optic. You have plenty of elevation in the dial. On the EP5, you've got 32 mils if you're running mils, 110 minutes if you're running minutes, and nice, clean, tactile clicks. You've got 0 stops, whatever. So when I'm running like I am, 6 to 7 different rifles and different calibers and different platforms, the EP5 under $600 makes a lot of sense to me. As far as the rest of the rifle goes, this is an old Rock River lower receiver that I've been running several different uppers on for a lot of years. We've got a Geisley trigger in there, pretty basic setup. As far as the mount goes, we have upgraded the mount. I'm using an American Defense 40 MOA mount, and what that does is that gives me 40 minutes of what would typically be downward travel now turned into upward travel, and I'll explain all that in a different video. But that gives me a lot of elevation to dial on my turrets. Kind of digressing and going back to the level, there's a lot of different options out there. This MDT Send It is a little bit on the expensive side, but I really like it. If you want to go with something cheaper, there's lots and lots of options like the Arkin Bubble level, and that'll do pretty much the same thing. The thing I like with the MDT Send It level is I don't have to break contact with my cheek weld. It's there, it's in my face, and I can see that level the entire time that I'm shooting. Now the bullet we used is a 112 grain Barnes match burner, and I did that for the high ballistic coefficient. But we also had great success using factory Hornady ammunition out well past a mile. We found our velocity node and then went over to JBM Ballistics. From JBM Ballistics, I plugged in our numbers and I got a baseline for calculating our firing solution. And what this told me is that we would be dropping into transonic at 1,620 yards, which meant that the last 400 yards of our shot would be in transonic. If you look at this, what this also told us is that we'd experience a bullet drop of almost 2,300 inches and almost 32 mils in elevation difference with a flight time of just over 4 seconds. I take that information from JBM Ballistics, which I also have another video on how to use that, and then I true that information using Hornady Ford-Off. Now we did a lot of testing with some closer range shots and then worked our way out. Here's a couple of those clips.
Beer can 1,000 yards. 6 arc, arc and EP5.
Impact.
After we pulled off a few long-range shots on some beer cans and a few clay pigeons, we decided to stretch it out to a mile. We got some reasonable consistency out at a mile, making 3 out of 5 impacts. Here's that clip. Now you'll notice that I'm using an additional holdover because I'm maxed on my dial.
Six arc at a mile.
From here, we went all the way out to 2,017 yards.
Alright, there's our target. 2,017 yards away. I am going to take the magnification down a little bit so you can see kind of the distance here. Quite a ways out there. Let's see what we get. Impact. 2,017 yards. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. 2017 yards, 6 arc.
If you found this video interesting, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. And thanks for watching.